What's going on, everybody? My name is Jason. I work at All Out Bikes in Four Oaks, North Carolina. I've been in this business for, well, many years, since 1994. And what brings us to you today is this amazing 1984 CW ZX Pro bike. It is in amazing shape. There's hardly a speck of rust on there. We've got some really great components on here. We've got some original 80s Skyways. These are the little nicer ones with the little metal flange on here. We're going to have some Tioga chromoly one-piece cranks, and we're going to have a Tioga aluminum spider, some really old school Well-Go pedals, a layback chromoly seat post, and of course the classic Dominator seat. We're going to have the CW style handlebars. These kind of have a bit of a sweep back to them. They are chromoly. Just an absolutely amazing bike with a story. Okay, so the way we got this bike, it started back in 1984, where we'll say this gentleman's name is Jay. Him and his father were overseas, and his father was in the military. His father really wanted him to have a really nice bike, so they actually went to the local bike shop where they found the CW frame and fork and the parts and built this really amazing bike. Well, Jay rode it for a little while, but being a teenager, teenagers being teenagers, he had an opportunity to get a scooter, one of those mopeds. His grandmother actually used to get around Europe on this scooter. Well, the laws changed, and she did not want to wear a helmet because it messed up her hair. So that's where Jay got this moped, and this poor bike went off to the corner of some garage or house and started to collect dust for many years. Well, several years went by, and the family ended up moving back to the U.S. Well, several years went by. Jay ended up meeting the love of his life, where they had a son, and we're going to call him B. Okay. Well, Jay and B, father and son, they of course they had a bond like any father and son, but there was just something that wasn't. They didn't have a shared, a shared hobby, and Jay ended up taking B to the local BMX track. And I believe it was right here in Raleigh, to the, oh my gosh, what's the name of the track? Capital City BMX. Oh my gosh. Sorry, it's been a long day. And he, against the mother's wishes, because the mom did not want her son to be hurt. And I'm going to tell you, if she was there, she would have been horrified, because her son was out on the track, and from what I was told, he was wrecking and having a horrible time on the track. I say a horrible time, except that there was this light that just was really shining in B's eyes, and Jay saw that, and that was it. And they both created a really incredible bond with this shared experience of BMX. Now, Jay did not race much BMX, but B did, and Jay really loved taking them to the track and watching him race, and he won some trophies. Uh, he was really having a good time, and this is where we come in. Okay, they ended up our first memories of this family were when J and B came in the door, and they were looking to buy a helmet, and this helmet, we were trying to fit them for this helmet, and he was pulling this helmet on, and he was being kind of gingerly with the helmet, and I'm thinking, just pull it on. Well, then Jay ended up coming up behind him and just smacking him on top of the helmet, and it just popped right into place. And I wasn't thinking anything of it. My wife wasn't thinking anything of it until Jay had mentioned that they had just gotten back from the dentist, and that B had just had 4 wisdom teeth removed. And in which case, me and my wife were like, oh my gosh, because the pain that he was probably going through, and he was trying to, avoid the pain by being careful, and then his dad just popped it on his head. But I guess it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. It's best just go ahead and get it off. And so they bought the helmet, and several years have gone by. This was about 10 years ago, whenever we first met them. So they would come in, and we would fix warped wheels. They would get some upgrades and such, and they just, really good bond between these two. You can tell that they loved each other. Well, several years have gone by, and B ended up growing up into a very independent young man, where he was his own. Well, he kind of had his own business selling things online, like a lot of people, and he was actually very good at it. He was actually making a pretty good living with it. Well, he started to get a sore throat, and we're in North Carolina. We all get sore throats around here. The temperature changes, allergies. Well, the problem is the sore throat wasn't going away, and B ended up going to the doctor because he was starting to get a little concerned. The doctor came out after doing their tests and such, and they had some very bad news, and that news was that he had throat cancer. Now, B, he never smoked, he didn't chew tobacco, but he still didn't stop him from getting some throat cancer, and the doctor let him know that it was inoperable. So it had already spread, and that he did not have much time to live. Well, B, being who he was, went home. He was still living with his parents at this time, and he did not tell his parents the horrible news. I guess he was trying to spare his parents this news. Well, he was keeping it from his parents, and some time went by, and this last Thanksgiving, he could not keep this from his family anymore, because it was really starting to affect him. His hearing was seriously affected. He was having trouble hearing, and also his sight. He started to lose his vision, and he let his parents know, and his words were, I've already lived longer than the diagnosis, and but I don't have much time left. Well, Jay ended up taking some time off from work to spend some time with his son, and that greatly upset his son, because he was trying to save his parents this grief and such. So they did spend some time together, and a few weeks ago, um, B lost his battle, and that's where this bike comes in. He was 24 years old, and his father thought that he had plenty of time to spend time with his son, and he always had plans on giving his childhood bike to his son um, because they shared this incredible thing, this BMX um, thing, and so his father just brought this in this last Friday, and he said that he knew that we would take care of it, and he wanted to give us this bike because he knew that we would take care of it. Now, of course, it costs money to bury a son, and he wasn't asking for much. I told him that I could not afford to pay him for this bike because this bike was worth every bit of $2,000. And he looked at me and he was like, "I'm not asking for $2,000." He asked me if we could give him $600. Well, $600. I'm thinking I don't have $600. Where this is, running a bike shop, I mean, it's a shoestring budget, at least for us. Now, luckily, we had a few sales that day, and they paid cash. So I dug into my pockets, and my wife opened up her purse and started to get as much money as she could. We emptied out the register. I do remember we had a $100 bill. We had a bunch of 20s, some 10s, and some 5s. We came up with exactly $500. I didn't give him any of the ones. We had to hold on to some money in case of somebody came in needing a tube or something like that. So we paid them $500 for this bike, and as I'm giving him this money, he also looked at me and he was like, "I just have one request. Can you hang it up in your store?" And I guess he's wanting it hung up in the store because now he told me that every time he was looking at this bike, now that his son is gone, it was killing him. He just couldn't look at that bike realizing that his son was gone, which is why he brought the bike in to us. And I believe that he knows that we're not going to get rid of this bike. We're not going to sell it, that we're just going to hang it up in the store. And that's what we're going to do. And I do have to ask y'all, now there's a lot of things that I can do to this bike. I've got a lot of cool parts. I can put some 3-piece cranks on here. I can put some nicer pedals. Now, we're not going to do any of that, okay? Because this is the way that Jay built this bike, and this is the way Jay was going to give his son this bike, just like this. And we're going to leave it like this. There is one thing that, I'm wondering if I should do. These tires are not the original tires that were on this bike, and I don't know if it would be best to put some vintage looking tan walled tires on there, or we should have some blue treaded tan wall tires. If I should put that to go with the blue pedals, the blue seat, and the blue mags, or just leave it the way it is. So if you could, please, at the bottom, please let me know what y'all think we should do with this bike, if we should change the tires. Again, I'm not changing anything else. This is staying the way it is.
We'll clean it.
We're going to clean it, and we're not going to show cleaning this bike right now because we're already 15 minutes into this video. But we'll probably do some other videos, maybe showing us cleaning it up good, and maybe, if need be, changing the tires to something that would make it stand out even more. It's already an amazing bike. So please, down at the bottom, let us know. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please smash that like button. Let everybody know about this story. Be sure to check out some of the other videos on the corner of the screen. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.